How can two people be having sex with clothes on, fully clothed?
It's tough to have intercourse that way, that's for sure. Everyone, this is 21-year-old Ivy. Now, the day Ivy was born, she was called Nathan. But now she is proudly transitioning into female. And as you can imagine, it would be important to have your family support you in such a big decision. But Ivy's dad, Bobby, does not accept this. But you know, that's not why Ivy called the show. Ivy asked for our help because for 21 years, her father, Bobby, has denied that Ivy is his child. Watch.
Let's get this straight. His name is Nathan, and that's what I'm going to call him. Who the hell is Ivy? That's not the name I gave him. I guess it doesn't matter because he's not my kid anyway. Over 20 years ago, I caught one of my family members on top of Sherry, right on the kitchen floor. From that day on, I never believed Nathan was mine. For one, he's lazy, and for second, he thinks the world owes him something. He's crying out for attention, and none of my sons would ever do that. Even if he is mine, I don't owe him a damn thing. He should be grateful I even took this test. We all know Maury's going to say I'm not the father.
So now joining us from Meadowview, Virginia, is Bobby. And now we're going to talk to Ivy and Ivy's mother, Sherry, a bit later on. But first, you know, Bobby, why don't you address this person as Ivy? Why don't you call her Ivy?
Because his name's not Ivy, it's Nathan. That's the name I gave him at birth, and that's who he is.
But to be clear, you know, he's transitioning into the process of being a woman, and she's told our producers that she's completely comfortable discussing this topic. But you don't agree with her choice to transition, right?
Well, no, I don't believe in it. And never have.
By the way, does that have anything to do with your denying that she's your child?
No, I've loved this child for 22 years.
Tell me what you think happened the night that you think Ivy was conceived.
It was during the day. I came home from work, and Ivy's mom was on the floor. My was on top of her, and Lord knows what happened. I was at work.
But Bobby, Sherry told my producers, that she and your family member, they both had their clothes on.
Yeah, but I can tell you monkeys fly too, but that don't mean they do.
Meanwhile, you went to the hospital when she gave birth, didn't you?
No,
no?
I did not.
Why not?
Me and Sherry wasn't together at that time, and I wasn't notified that she was in the hospital with having him.
Okay. Well, when did you all get back together?
Well, I'd say Nathan was a couple weeks old.
And you've been together ever since, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you always been a part of Ivy's life?
Yes, and the deal is, Maury, I told her back whenever she told me she was pregnant that I didn't care whose kid it was. I was going to raise it and give it the best life I could give it.
I can see you, Bobby. You got red hair, right?
Yep.
This young person has red hair. You don't think that looks like you?
Well, and so does the person that I caught on top of her, his son looks identical to me, too.
So now it's time to meet Ivy. And Ivy also joins us from Meadowview, Virginia. You upset your father doesn't call you Ivy?
Yes, it upsets me a little bit. I've learned to deal with it. It still hurts a little bit, but I've got tough skin, so it don't really bother me. I've had to learn it out.
Are you positive that Bobby's your dad?
Yes, there is no other possibility.
What's it like when he says that he's not your father? I mean, he's been telling you that since you were 13 years old.
Yeah, it's difficult and it irritates me, but I know that it's not the
Your
truth.
mom was on the floor with another man.
Yeah, they had their clothes on. How can two people be having sex with clothes on, fully clothed?
It's tough to have intercourse that way, that's for sure. But you believe your mother. He doesn't believe your mother. That's the problem.
She used to date him.
Yeah, he's crazy.
You think you look like Bobby?
You don't know nothing about what your mom was like, Nathan.
Here's the thing, Ivy. It's not only Bobby who doesn't accept your transition. Your mother doesn't accept it either, does she?
No.
Does that bother you?
Yeah, she's a little more accepting.
But you want me to affirm to you that Bobby's your father?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Sherry, any doubt in your mind that Bobby is the father of Ivy?
No, there's no doubt in my mind.
But I mean,
and as far as not knowing how I am.
But you'd already slept with him in the past.
That was when I was 13 years old. I'm 47. Nothing happened that day at all. Maury, can you have sex with your clothes on?
It's tough.
I guess y'all was just taking a nap on the floor, huh?
Now, I'm not going to say that the family member wouldn't have, but I wouldn't have.
Was Bobby okay when you told him you were pregnant? Was he okay with that?
Yeah, he
I
seemed
guess y'all was
happy
just
glorious.
taking a nap.
When did Bobby start to deny Ivy?
When he was around 2, but they were real close, and up until he turned 12, and then they started drifting apart, and then all this. I mean, they can't get along for anything. It's, you're not my dad, you're not my father.
Yeah, but
You're not my son.
but you and Bobby are still together.
Yeah.
That's some look he gave me. You think Ivy looks like Bobby?
He does.
Right.
I do think that so, very much so.
So here,
Acts like him too.
really? He says he doesn't act
Yeah.
like him. He says he's too lazy.
They have got characteristics that's safe.
Before I read the result here, you're not really in favor of this transition that Ivy's going through either, are you?
No, I'm not, but I don't resent him for it. I don't rag on him about it or anything like that. That's not my belief, but it is what it is. He is my child, and I love him no matter what.
That's all I wanted to hear, okay? We've got the result for you. By the way,
Please do. Read them results, Maury.
you want to be her father, don't you?
Well, yes, I mean, why not? I mean, I've already raised him for 22 years.
In the case of 21-year-old Ivy, Bobby, you are the father.
Exactly. You are the father. You are the father.
You want to give your child a hug?
I'll go down and see him in a minute.
Okay, I think we settled that. You are not the father.